All right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome everyone back to the Happy Hour Show with surprise guest Freddie Quotes. How you doing, man?
Good, brother. Good to see you on stream.
Nice. Well, good to have you. And we do have a special guest that we will bring here shortly. For some reason, I'm looking on YouTube. My camera isn't working, so let me see what I can do about that. Always a joy.
Yeah, I see you in StreamYard, but I do not see you on the YouTubes.
It is quite annoying. This has happened like a couple of times, so I'm going to leave and duck right back in and say hi to everybody. Fred, you're not a shy
Absolutely.
person.
Not at all. Who do we got in the chat? We got David Lee in the chat. Good to see you, David Lee. HOA, Omar. Everybody ready for this bull? Dan Smith. Good evening. Is everybody ready for the bull? I think we've started. I told someone before the election that if Trump wins, we'll hit $100,000 Bitcoin by Thanksgiving, and they laughed at me. I see you on here. I'm waiting for my YouTube to catch up. There you go.
There we go. All right. The magic. But you were saying about 100K?
Yeah. So I had a buddy, and I told him, I was like,
hold on. Let's bring it before we get into that. Without further ado, because he's actually early, he was getting his exercise in. So we're actually very happy to be joined a few minutes early by a friend of the show, multiple time guest, Mr. Dave Levine is in the house. How you doing, sir?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Excited.
Delayed applause.
Yeah, I hear the applause.
There we go.
Oh, there it is.
What you were saying, Fred, I guess we'll just jump right into it with 100K Bitcoin, you say, and we can pull up the big step 1 minute chart. But go ahead.
Before the election, I told someone, I was like, look, if Trump wins, we're going to have 100K Bitcoin. So some random guy I met on the golf course, he's a retired Air Force guy, flies for United now. And we were out there, and it's weird because like people say, oh, what do you do? You know, you're out on the golf course, you meet people like, oh, what do you do for a living? And you're like, oh, you know, I trade crypto. And they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, what's going to happen? I'm like, this was actually on election day, believe it or not. And I was like, man, if Trump wins tonight, we're going to have $100,000 Bitcoin before Thanksgiving. And he was like, there's no way that that's possible. And then it's funny. He called me the other day and he was like, hey, I'm going out tomorrow morning. I think this was Thursday of last week. Was it Thursday of last week or was it one day this week? No, it was one day this week. Days get confused. But I went out again and he was like, dude, you called it. And I was like, it's just what crypto does, man. It's a cycle. Everyone knows it. Everyone loves it. When you get in, you know, buy the bottoms and sell the tops.
Yep, and we had multi-year resistance around that 70K area, and once that finally broke like 74, like it was off and not looking back. I mean, obviously, you know, due to the cyclical nature, 4 years or less than 4 years, we can, you know, go way up in that time and then come all the way back down and maybe, you know, hit 70K as the new bottom. But anyway, we're talking Bitcoin. Mr. Dave Levine, when I think of Bitcoin and you, I go back to the days of some of your videos from, I guess, a couple of years ago. You were quite bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum, more so Ethereum. So what are your current thoughts right now?
So last year, my timing was great. I missed, you know, the cycle trend has been that Bitcoin runs first, then that peaks out, and then Ethereum, and then all the altcoins, and you know, and so it's normal that Bitcoin runs first. But so in the last cycle, in January of 2020, I suddenly realized what I still believe today, that actually ETH is better than Bitcoin. I may believe in the flippening. I mean, you know, in 50 years. And I even believe that ETH is better than Bitcoin as digital gold. I don't, everybody thinks that's crazy. But anyways, you know, when last year I switched sort of late cycle to mostly ETH, and it was right at the low. It was right when Bitcoin was ready to poop out. So I never had to endure, you know, had you been more bullish ETH than Bitcoin in the last cycle, you would have been in severe pain. It was January 2020, ETH hit $82, right? And then in the last year, just blew everything away. So anyways, I feel the same way I felt before. You know, I like ETH better, you know, but price wise, and even before this bull started, I said to people, oh, you know, Bitcoin probably runs faster at the beginning. But at this point, the beginning is feeling like more than just the beginning. I mean, I think in this cycle, we're in I'd say we're in the 6th inning, and, you know, Bitcoin's winning 6-2, but, you know, in the 9th inning, we might hit a grand slam, and, you know, so I feel the same way. I own Bitcoin, you know, so it's all good. But had ETH been winning, I would be more happy, but you know.
Can I ask a question? When was it that you switched from Bitcoin as your 1 seed to ETH as your 1 seed?
You know, you know, I used to do these videos regularly, portfolio recommendations, and I always had Bitcoin 70% of the portfolio. And in January of 2020, and I think I just got lucky, but it literally was the low for that cycle. January of 2020, if you look at the price, and I still have the video, you know, January is like 15th. Was like the day it was the low, I started saying ETH should be 70% of your portfolio instead of Bitcoin 70%. And, you know, and I've sort of, I mean, I don't know that today I'm not even 70% by default, because I have other tokens and Bitcoin have all been beating Bitcoin lately. I mean, Ethereum lately. So and I don't do these portfolio videos, but anyways, yeah, it was January 2020 when I switched.
So I do have a follow-up question. How long is it going to take you to realize that Hex is even better than ETH?
Oh my gosh.
You know, it's so funny because last time I was on the show, you know, Hex was, you know, I think it's down 90% from there. And I was like, is that enough to stop? I mean,
which Bitcoin has done, which Ethereum has done.
I hope everything goes well. Like, I hope Bitcoin goes higher. I hope Hex goes higher. But I even, you know, yeah. I want to buy other tokens, you know, like I like Aave. Like I'm like, okay, because it's borrowing lending and it's doing a real thing. But even then, it's like 2% of my portfolio, you know. How you can allocate more than 2% to something like that? I mean, I don't know how you would define Hex. Maybe as a, you know, it's this tiny little thing that's trying to be its own new network. It's such a it's speculative on top of speculative. You know, if ETH is speculative, and then you've got other things that are speculative. I mean, Hex. So if Hex is growing, how long would Hex have to be growing faster than ETH for it to be, and by growing faster than, I mean, talking on real user metrics, like number of users, number of developers, number of applications, number of people on the network, all these things. If Hex's ecosystem is growing faster than ETH by like 50% for like 5 years in a row, maybe they'll be like 30% as big as ETH. So maybe, you know, I don't know the math on it, but if it's growing faster for many, many years and starting to catch up, I would then start to allocate to it. But I doubt it's growing faster than ETH as far as actual users and applications. And yeah, I mean, it's orders of magnitude, because even Solana is like ETH, other than if you get rid of trading meme coins, which I am not willing to admit is a long-term thing yet. If you get rid of that, I mean, ETH is easily 10 times bigger than Solana. And how many times is Solana bigger than Hex? So it's, for me, I like to pick the winners. I think this whole thing of picking tiny, small things and betting on them is something that pump and dumpers promote, and I don't believe it's true. I don't think it's a thing. I think the biggest usually remain the biggest and grow the most. We've seen that with Amazon and Apple and Google and Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like, it's just why.
To be fair, Hex was top 3 in market cap in the last bull, I believe, right?
It did have
Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then Hex, number 3.
Yeah, I mean, it did its run, and
but
yeah, go ahead.
The thing with the small guys is they can't, a small new thing can have its moments. It can be in the spotlight for a little bit. And if you get in right before the spotlight hits it and you get out before that spotlight wins, yes, it's possible. But if you want to have a leisurely life and go to the beach and hang out with the kids, it's just like, well, just own the leader because you're going to win in the long run. So, yeah, Hex won for a minute, but since then, hasn't it been killed? Am I wrong? I mean, isn't it way, way behind now?
It is way behind. They've had, I guess, what do I want to say? The community, which I'm a part of, has been pretty much through the ringer, I guess, more than other communities just because of the SEC lawsuit, which is funny given the recent election results and hopefully the favorable outcome, versus Richard Hart. And that could actually lift a lot of weight, from the price. Right now, it's like, what is it? 2 cents, it's between 2 and 3 cents. So it's like resistance on the chart. Right. It's a natural place for a lot of distribution. So guys who have won it out, they're selling, at this resistance level. You have other big buys coming in, trying to, it's a push and pull kind of thing. So if it breaks out above like 2.5, 3 cents, we go a lot higher. And to, I believe your earlier point about, Bitcoin and alts, if Ethereum finally does end up getting itself together and taking off, perhaps after a lot of that financial energy comes back from Bitcoin to Ethereum, then things like Hex will absolutely fly because all that money is going to go to Ethereum and then coins within Ethereum. And like you said, it'll be very volatile, but in the good way for, that time period, I think.
I think the only thing that I heard from Dave just now was that he's going to buy our $100 Hex from us.
$100 Hex. I would take $1, but you do you.
I don't know that I go by price. It's the actual, it's like things are happening and I need to go on there to get, I don't know. I need, like for me, I use one reason where, people talk about collateral. I like ETH, because I could borrow against it and I can move it over here and I can go to the different chains. I can do all these things. Like Bitcoin to me is like, well, what can I do? I just hold on the ledger. It's like,
right.
That's an issue. Like that's all I can do unless I'm centralized. So, but if I'm like, because now I'm seeing there's a little bit with Solana. I mean, the only thing is, I was just talking to a friend today. He's like, oh, this pump.fun, go over there and you can do meme coins. And it's like, oh, well, then I would actually go over to Solana if I wanted to do that stuff. If there's things happening, and I start going over there, I'll be like, okay.
Yeah, and to be fair, there is a lot of that on Pulse chain, which is where the new Hex is hosted. So all those applications that you're talking about have been built. It's just the users are needed. There's a fork of Aave. There's a fork of Liquidity. There's a fork of GMX. So all that functionality has been built by a lot of really good devs, audited, all that stuff. It's just the user base that, the chain is looking for, and hopefully it grows. I would certainly think the return of its founder would have a lot to do with that. Perhaps one fine day after this court mess is finally resolved, which could be weeks. It could be sometime next year. So we'll see.
That's part of the risk. And like, so for example, I loved Frax, Frax, FXS, and like, I just honestly, like, I thought Sam Kazemian, he seems like a good founder. I like what they're doing. I study what they're doing. It all makes sense. I think the thing's great. And I bought it. And it's just like, I don't know, the stable coin just going like less and less in circulation. I think it's great. I don't know, but no one else does. So what am I going to do? And then they created a new chain and no one's going there. And then I asked the founder, I asked it the same. I'm like, what's the plan? He's like, shut up. He was like mad at me because I was negative. So this was a thing that I liked and it was there and they got good developers and everything's great and my analysis, but it doesn't have. So I just had to get out of it. I don't know. What am I going to do? And so, and I like, what's his name? Richard Hart. I think the guy's hilarious, but if they put him in jail, I don't know, I'd have to sell.
I don't think he's going to jail, but I actually think from following the case, and there are a lot of people there, and it's already been written about.
I think we're in a new world.
Yes,
likely.
exactly, and that helped. I mean,
he's no longer villain number one.
Yes,
the hearing. I don't know that I love all of his outfits, but we no longer hate the crazy individual trying to change the world.
Right. God bless. Well, while we're talking about this, and in between topics, perhaps wanted to welcome in Brandon from buildthetech.com. How you doing, sir?
I'm great. How about you? How you doing, man? We
are all doing well here. We're looking for Big K. Has anybody seen Big K? He was supposed to be here, about 40 minutes ago, but we started the show, and it's been a good little chat with Dave and Fred so far. I did forget to mention, I did tweet it out there. I guess we have about 50 minutes left for this to happen, but if Bitcoin were to break 100K while we are on the air, I would then do the Getting Ready for Work Vodka by John McAfee on stream.
Nice.
So we got $1,000 to go. So I don't think it's going to happen. I might get out easy, but we'll see. But what's up with you, man? I'll pull up some chat here and say hello to everybody while you tell us what's going on.
Yeah, Dave, sorry, I don't know much about you, man. I pulled up your website, and it looks like you're doing some cool things, some educational things here. But yeah, my name's Brandon. I run buildthetech.com, Build the Tech LLC. So we do Web3 development for folks. I'm a huge proponent of Pulse Chain. I'm a huge proponent of Titan X as well on Ethereum. Really excited about that. And I'm just out here trying to just spread the good word about decentralized finance and kind of help shape the direction that this whole space is going in a positive direction. And I'm very excited about the markets, Cabana, because we've seen this play out so many times before. Ethereum is so oversold versus Bitcoin right now. And as soon as that crashes through, man, Ethereum just takes off. And it seems like it happens at the beginning of each new year. So maybe the first couple of weeks of January, I think we see Ethereum start to take off. And a lot of that economic energy is going to bounce out of Bitcoin into Ethereum, into different chains, into Solana, into all sorts of places here. And I'm not actually a proponent of Solana. I just know where the money's going to go. And that's one of the places. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'd be curious, Dave, since you've followed Bitcoin, especially Ethereum, what are your thoughts on Solana? Because as you mentioned earlier, like a lot of meme trading goes on over there, but like in terms of like long-term staying power versus ETH, like what are your thoughts? Who wins out in the end? Does one kind of surprisingly take over the other? I would argue Solana would be the surprise, but what are your thoughts on Solana versus ETH?
Yeah, at the beginning of this cycle, I was more concerned, just like, will it work? Right. Last time it was going down a lot, and would it get congested? And I'm still like, I think I'm usually 3 to 5 years guy. I trade every 3 to 5 years and sometimes longer. And so for me, I like to see the whole cycle because to see how it plays out. And really the peak of the cycle is where things get tested, and then the crash. So the peak of the cycle is, when will Solana hit a bottleneck and break, or just become, ETH had this, and Bitcoin had the $50 per transaction, and Ethereum has maxed out in each cycle where the fees are too high and you can hardly use it anymore. And then, so will Solana hit some sort of a bottleneck, and then what happens will tell me a lot about what I think. I don't like buying at this point. Like I bought everything, set up my portfolio in 2022. Like I've learned, don't start chasing shit now, because it's just so easy to get caught up. So I'm watching, and Solana, I think Solana is fine. I don't think it's going away, but I think the hype around it, I think it's higher than it should be, because I think people are overvaluing the meme coin trading, which I don't know. again, meme coin trading could go away and something else replaces it, but I that needs to be seen. So I'm skeptical about Solana, certainly being better than Ethereum or even Bitcoin, but it's not going away. And it's, to me, if you're not in it now, already, it scares me. It's not for me. It's too risky. I'm the most conservative guy in this crazy crypto.
Well, you don't even have to be conservative. Like, I stopped counting how many times Solana went down in a bear market. In 1 year, I stopped at 25 times where they had to halt the entire chain and freeze everything. I mean, that can't make people feel good. And when I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to square why there's so much attention on Solana. And the only thing that I come up with, it has to do with the players that are involved that need to make this and turn this into something, I'd imagine. What do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's just the hot ball of money now is running to this pump.fun meme coin pump and dump stupidness. I mean, that is what is hot right now. There's other things going on. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, nobody uses Ethereum. I'm like, well, I don't know. There's like $150 billion of stable coins and billions of dollars in borrowing, lending. And people are like, no, that's nothing. That's not a thing. I'm like, okay. But it's not that exciting. I get that. You know, so it's this get rich quick. People love to get rich quick. And so Solana has that right now. So I think that's why it has the attention. And then when you have that and then people run to it, and then so the volume on the exchanges go up. So this aerodrome, oh no, that's base. Whatever the heck is going on in Solana, you know, people start.
There's money to be made. So people are going to flock towards it.
And then they had those airdrops. That Jito had an airdrop, so that's all of a sudden everybody has free money. And then they have the casino they can go to, and like it's just all. And on all the other chains, it's like, you know, oh, we're building real infrastructure that, you know, can support BlackRock. And it's like, yeah, that's nice. You know, that's what I like, but you know, that's me.
Even Ripple is like perking up or starting to. So that tells you, things could get spicy in all of crypto here in a bit. Yeah. You did mention your portfolio review videos. So since you mentioned that, I was just curious, like, obviously you're still bullish on Bitcoin because you hold it. I would assume you are. And then Ethereum, of course. Do you have any other like major holdings? I guess Aave might be one in the portfolio, but is that why you stopped doing them? Are you more concentrated now, or you just didn't feel like dealing with all the video stuff?
Well, there's a couple. Do you want why I stopped doing the videos, or you want to hear if I was going to
both?
What I would say now. What's that?
Both.
Okay. Well, you know, so first of all, as far as one thing I've learned, I'm good at being really early in things. I was really early on the web and creating an affiliate program, and I've been early in some things. But like, I'm really good when it's early. My saying is, I like to be the smartest guy in the room, but I'm not that smart. So I like to go to rooms that has nobody in it, and then when it starts getting busy, I better get out of there. You know, when the Google guys showed up on the web, you know, that was time for me to get out of there. You know. But anyways, so with crypto, I was so early, and I remember I felt like, oh, I'm the smartest guy because nobody was in it. And I started feeling now, and I do a lot of learn by doing. So in 2017, if there was a real decentralized chain, I was on that chain using whatever there was. And all it was Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Stellar. There was nothing else. So it was easy. Now I'd have to be on every chain doing every app, and there were people working 60 hours a week. So I was like, I no longer can be, I think, the smartest. And then the other thing is, what I'm into now is I'm trying to create, my original thing is a new type of high school, but I'm currently focused on financial literacy for teens, which would be a course within this new high school. I'm working on that now. I want to, you know, my oldest will be in high school in 3 years, and I need to intervene before she graduates college as a communist. So, you know, that's what I'm focused on. And I'm in an area where there's no competition, right? That's what I like. I am the best at financial literacy for teens, mostly because nobody's doing it. But anyways, but I still follow crypto, but not as it used to be all day, every day. That's all I did. So anyways, that being said, my portfolio that I would say today is, and keep in mind too, I'm pretty deep in ETH and I use ETH. I'm not on every other chain. So there could be something amazing on Near I have no idea. There could be, and Hex, whatever you guys are doing. I have not gone on the chain and seen, and I'm not looking. But in my world, I would say, so first of all, we're in the cycle. We're getting later, what I said 2 years ago, and it sounded more crazy than it does now, or now it might sound crazy for another reason, which is once Bitcoin crosses 150, I would start dollar cost average getting your allocation and your portfolio down. I would start dollar cost average selling Bitcoin over 150.
So you think we get to 150 this cycle?
Listen, if I said that in 2022, I certainly think it now, right?
Okay.
I mean, we're almost there. And then ETH over 10,000, I would start dollar cost average selling again. And it's not like you're selling because it's horrible. It's just, you look at your portfolio. If like your net worth is 50%, something that just went up 10x, you might want to lower that at least to prepare for the crash. So I still like ETH as like 50% or more of your portfolio. Bitcoin, I still said the same. And granted, I always said at least 10% and up to 50 and 50-50 ETH Bitcoin. I think most people, even people who are in it all the time, just buy Bitcoin ETH. Like, just stop it. It's too hard, all this other stuff. However, listen, and I don't take my own advice and usually regret it. Right now, the remaining, I had more tokens I liked in 2022, and they fall off one by one. I still have some Uniswap they gave me for free and dreams that it'll turn into something someday. I don't know how much confidence I have, but I hold that. I thought maybe this time we'd have some L2 mania, and so again, I got free tokens. I hold them. But this, OP is, and I loved Polygon. I still like it, but it's not going anywhere. A little bit of that, maybe. Aave, right now I have more confidence in Aave. But again, on all these things, I would just do 2% of your portfolio, 1 or 2%, and maybe we get lucky. And Chainlink is another one.
Good old Link. I remember that one.
What's that?
I remember Chainlink. I had it and put a bunch of it into Hex at the bottom, and that turned out well for me. But I've messed with it a time or two since. But yeah, I guess I'm kind of like with things I'm lesser familiar with. I don't really have too many alts on ETH. I'm more partial to like bigger coins or ecosystems or up and coming ecosystems. But I do like your thoughts of scaling out, because I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about that when prices are going up. They might think about selling when it's too late or when there's a big, wick to the upside, and then it comes back down.
I don't think they do that at all. I think they do the opposite. I think they buy more as it gets higher, and they buy more and a big wick.
Retail does,
even
right?
More.
Yeah, pure retail does. But I'm just talking about, I guess, people who are, more versed in crypto than they were, say, 4 years ago. People do seem some seem a lot smarter. So I think it's good to have levels to where you want to hit. Like, for instance, if you bought Bitcoin at the bottom of this cycle, 20K, whatever it was, 100K is obviously a big round number, and there's a ton of liquidity there. There was from like 98 all the way up into through 100, and it's being chewed through slowly. Like, we're at 99.3 right now, so stand by on that. But it's good to have levels. Like, I took some off, not a ton, but I took some off here at 100K. And I have like my next level, I think, is like, 10 points higher or whatever, 10K higher, maybe less than that. And then 120 is like, okay, things might get a little crazy then. So that's why I was curious when you said 150. I'm like, oh, maybe, keep a little moonshot bag for that for some people.
Keep in mind, Omar, who I know, hello, Omar, he asked a question, which I think is a good one too, which is, we're early in the late stage of the cycle. So when I say start, dollar cost average selling over 150, that's at that point. Now, we're playing it by ear here, but it feels like we're going to hit 150 in a few months or something. But whatever, especially if it's going straight up, I like to make a thing of like, well, at that point, so, oh my God, now Bitcoin's 50% of my net worth or whatever it is. I want to get it down to say 10% of my net worth. So that means, so how much is 40%? Oh, that's this many dollars. I would divide that by like 6 or 12 and sell that amount every month if you do it over 12 months. And what happens when I've done this, now a couple times. So it goes up so much. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to sell, whatever, 10,000, 20,000, whatever dollar amount each month. So I sell it. So if I had 100,000, I sell 10,000. Now I have 90. And then by the time the next month comes, I have 110 and I sell 10. I get to, it's going up. Its percentage of my net worth is going up even as I'm selling. And then you got to sort of redo it as you get later in the cycle. Yep. And hopefully we see it, the crash. Last time I felt like I really saw the crash coming. I mean, I was just like, oh my God, they're raising it like and that stupid Luna thing. I'm like, the whole bottom's going to fall out. I felt like we could see it coming for 3 months and then just sell everything, make sure you're done. But at the beginning, it feels like, and I remember when Bitcoin crossed 50,000 and who was that guy with the hat, $1 trillion, what the hell's that good? That Bitcoin guy, he's so annoying. I can't remember. He did a tweet. He's like, oh, we're just
Max Kaiser?
No, also annoying, but
yeah, very annoying.
Not the annoying part, right?
Bitcoin, yeah. I know the Bitcoin maxis give me a headache, but anyways, this guy tweets, to his billion followers. We're just getting started when Bitcoin crossed 50,000. And I was like, you know what? Now, because that was the marker, just like now it's 150, I say. And it's just like, start thinking about selling. It's like, but why? Because we're going to have that. It's going to be like, oh my God, Saudi Arabia is buying Bitcoin and we're going to Bitcoin reserve. And like this company is buying and this legislation's coming. Like, why would it go down? I don't know. All I know is that bubbles keep working the same way for hundreds of years and respect the bubble. When it goes straight up and you're up 10x, sell some. It's a law of nature.
Yes, sir. So we got Dave thinking maybe 150. I'm at like 120. Freddie, Brandon, you got any BTC target thoughts before we move on?
Go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, I think Richard said 250 to 275 this cycle.
I thought he said like 4 or something, but maybe even in 250 is crazy, but I would be thrilled with it. I'd be over the moon with that.
But when you say what's the peak, my peak, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't hit 250, 300, or, in these stupid, for 2 minutes, it hits some price on some weird exchange.
Exactly.
Like, easily way up there. I'm talking about, it's like when I think of last cycle, ETH, we had 8 months to sell ETH over 3,000. So to me, if you sold it over 3,000, that was the thing. It hit 4,800 for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point that you've brought up in some of your videos. It's like, yeah, you're not going to catch the actual top tick, but I mean, you do have time to sell for a very considerable gain over the course of weeks. So it's not like, you're sitting right there and you're like, oh, it's going to hit my target and it just misses it by $100 and then it like falls all the way down. Like it'll settle at a higher level, but then it's, up to you to execute on your exit strategy.
Yeah, I think that if you go to this is the chart that I use to really judge where we are. It's you can go to what is this website called? They changed it. It's bitcoinmagazinepro.com now, but it was something else before. Look into Bitcoin, I guess. The whales that have 1,000 Bitcoin or more are typically completely out of the market by the time Bitcoin price has topped. So they're completely out, and only people that are holding the market up at that point are retail. And I'm looking at this chart right now, and the wallets that have greater than 1,000 Bitcoin are continuing to accumulate all the way through these price levels. When I go to bitcoinstrategyplatform.com, you can check the net inflows for the Bitcoin ETFs over the past week here. And for example, just in the last 3 days, BlackRock has purchased another, I did the calculation here, so I wasn't wrong, $1.47 billion worth of Bitcoin. And they're ramping it up. They're not slowing it down. You've got Fidelity, ARC21, Bitwise, VanEck. All these people are accumulating this between all these ETFs now as well. They're now up to 1.081 million Bitcoin, which is quite a bit of Bitcoin. It's also now one of the largest holdings combined as compared to Satoshi's Dead Wallet, which holds 1 million Bitcoin. My initial thought was this cycle, I didn't really see us going past like 102 to 105. I thought that we were going to hit a pretty significant level of resistance. I thought it would bounce down, maybe chop sideways, and try to push up once more towards maybe the summertime of 2025. But with this buying pressure, with the wallets that really move the market, they're actually increasing, not decreasing. I think that we do push past 100 pretty quickly here, and I think that maybe we have one correction and another push up. So I'm thinking 120-ish, 110 to 120-ish is my idea.
Great minds, man. Great minds.
Yeah.
But I will definitely be thrilled if it just blows on past that. So,
yeah. And it probably will. I'm super conservative. I try not to hype stuff, but I'm looking at the data right now, and is BlackRock FOMOing? I don't think they're FOMOing. I'm pretty sure they've got a long-term plan here, and they're buying the market up like crazy right now. So,
yeah, and with Bitcoin at resistance like 70K, like seemingly for, well, what was it, like 6 months, that and below. I mean, there was a lot of accumulation going on in there. And of course, you had like the German, not the federal government, but part of their, I guess, local governments or whatever, whoever owned that Bitcoin dumped it all at like 55K. Lol. That sucks. But it's like you're dumping it at resistance. It's like once that got chewed through, and then the Mount Gox fears went away, which was all I was never a subscriber to that thing, to where it was going to wreck price for a long time, and it didn't. That'll trickle out. People want, I mean, especially we're making new all-time highs. Like, are you wanting to, just take all your coins off that you didn't have access to, right away, or you want to see how high some of them can go? So that's another thing.
What's interesting too here is like, if you go back to, I was looking at this last night, and if you go back to the beginning of 2024, and you measure Bitcoin's price movement, it's up 134% or so. I think that if Bitcoin dominance takes a fall here in the next couple weeks, I think we could actually see Ethereum outperform Bitcoin in 2024. I think it could take the race at the very end, the last couple of weeks of December, and then moving into January, I think Ethereum's going to rip. I think we're right on the precipice right now of Ethereum doing very, very well.
It's funny when Trump got elected, or actually I can't remember what. Yeah, it was right after he got elected, and Ethereum started running, and it is due to run. And that was in 2020. It did outpace. I looked at how much it went up. So I tweeted, I don't have 1 million likes and follows or whatever. I love most of my tweets, but I tweeted ETH 6,000 in 2024. God, boy, did everybody love that. I got 250 likes, which is not normal. So funny. It's a very popular thought. We all like to be happy. It's possible, because that's.
I don't think it sounds crazy. I don't think it sounds crazy.
I mean, I'm holding anyways, but it's possible.
Well, and even some folks from JP Morgan and some, I remember reading articles at the beginning of the year that said Ethereum was going to outperform Bitcoin in 2024. So I think it can take the race here at the very end of 2024, and I certainly think it's going to outperform in 2025. I have no doubt about that.
Well, I hope it does it before Thanksgiving, so I don't have to hear crap from my family.
That's how that goes.
I think I saw that in a tweet. Did I not, Dave?
Yeah, I tweeted one because I'm just like, I got a text yesterday from my brother-in-law. He's just like, that meme. Have you seen the one with some girl's dancing and she's crying? It's like,
Yes,
when
yes.
crypto's going up and all you own is ETH, like, because he listens to me, like an idiot, and so he only owns ETH. I was like, but yet my other comment is always, only in crypto do I have to make apologies for telling people to buy the thing that's up 200% in 2 years.
Right?
It's like, it's okay. You'll survive.
Brother, you talk about that hex run up. A whole bunch of us had our friends and family buying over 30-cent hex, and it hasn't been there in years. So there's a lot of people in the hex community who got hurt by doing that.
And that could be any crypto,
really. Of course.
It's like the thing that you can always fall back on. Well, with Bitcoin, as the main example, it's like, well, with Bitcoin, what is it that any buy 4 years later, you're in profit, something like that. So, it's that consistent. Correct. Has been. You have the halvenings and the 4-year cycles and all that, and it works until it doesn't. And everybody was doubting it, coming into this fall. And it's like, okay, this time is different because, man, we topped out again at 70K, and it's just like, I don't think so. Like, global liquidity is picking up, and you have all these factors at play. Look at the post halvening cycles, and everything started to turn, and we just got the supercharger with the election, which was just absolutely nuts. And that includes stocks as well. Definitely
99.5.
I see that, sir. Thank you very much for the update.
Let's go.
We welcome Big Kirkowski. What's going on, sir?
What's up, gentlemen?
How are you?
Glad to be here hanging. I'm doing great.
Good to see you.
Good to see all you guys too. Just been busy messing around with a piece of DJ equipment that I got for a little event that we're throwing down here in Puerto Rico coming a couple weeks here for blockchain week that they're having down here. So if there's any Pulsicans, Hexicans, people that are interested in coming on out, we've got
we're going to
do Ethereans, all anyone who's interested. I mean, it's mostly an ETH based kind of conference schedule that they have going on here, but we're going to have a demo the first day. They're in their digital sovereignty summit that they're doing, and then we're going to be partially sponsoring the opening party that night, and then the third day on ETH, the 12th of December, the ETH San Juan conference. Afterwards, we'll be doing a Pulse Chain pig roast at the beach, and so we've got some music acts, we've got a pig to roast, we've got fun at the beach. We can get some of those Chinchorreo buses and pick people up from the conference and party bus around. So it should be a fun little event. So I've been putting that all together. It was like, just got everything kind of locked in, so I can say something about it now. So we should have some presence at the Puerto Rican Blockchain Week that's coming up here, which will be pretty cool.
Awesome.
Outstanding. Yeah, we've been talking a lot of BTC, ETH, post-election, kind of semi-euphoria. I mean, it feels good right now. But it's also been a while. If you've been through the bear market or multiple bear markets, it's not.
It feels eerily similar. We did this pop up to 70K early in the year, and everyone was all like, "Hey, something's happening here," And anyone who is just like, "Oh, pack it up and go home," has obviously not been here for very long. So, I mean, I feel like we all were waiting for this. I think we would have got it one way or another, either way. I just think that, it was massively accelerated based on the election.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, game on.
Game on.
100K, here we go. Dude, I mean, let's just... you get your ETH longs ready, because obviously something's got to catch up here, eventually. I think that's going to be the next interesting move to be paying attention to. I like, I don't know how many times we're going to bounce off and, right here at nearly 100K. But
well, if we can, stay below it for another 24 minutes or so, then I escape without having to do the John McAfee get ready for work vodka drink performance on this channel. So Rags has been teasing me a little bit about it, and I'm watching it.
Are we doing shots at 100K? Is that the plan? I'm in. I can.
Getting ready for work vodka is more than a shot, but we can all do shots if that happens on the show.
Let's do shots at ETH at 37.50. Break even for SAC.
Yeah, that would be great. I'll be very stoked at that point in time when we get to 4K. I'll be doing some victory laps.
Well, while we have Dave here, I know just to wanted to spend a few minutes because I know you've been historically bullish on not just crypto, and crypto is pretty much what this channel revolves around, but we do talk some little Tesla and AI every now and then. I'm guessing you're probably still bullish Tesla and more bullish than ever the more that comes out in regards to robotics and robo-taxi and all the things. It's so much more than a car company. And I think the biggest mistake that people think about that or about Tesla is they just value it. They're trying to value it like a GM or Ford, when the true revolutionary products will hit in like 3, 5, 7 years time. And if full self-driving takes over, robo-taxis take over, everybody has their own robot in 10 to 15 years. It's a truly revolutionary company. And that you talk about being early to things. Tesla is kind of the one that you've been early on. So what's your current take on that? Yeah,
well, one of the other things that I learned to look at are when there are people who are just winners. Steve Jobs was like that. Like, oh, he's making movies. It's like, oh, and that goes, whatever if he started making pizza, I would want to buy the pizza, and Elon's one of those guys. And then, the stock was down, and it was a typical thing where, well, now is a good time to buy. But all summer I was saying, the only risk is that, there's a lawfare and they try to put him in jail, or they just, the government. I thought, because my other thought was, Kamala can't win as long as X exists, because they can't do all their fake news as long as everyone's finding the truth on X. So they have to shut down X. I thought they were going to make a bigger move to try to do that, and they didn't, and something against him. Well, once Trump wins, there's nothing stopping Elon from taking over the world. And Tesla, to call it a car company is just, it's a robot company. Those cars are autonomous robots.
Yep.
It's just, the whole thing is unbelievable. And so, and right before I was like, my thing was, okay, if he wins, I'm buying more Tesla and Coinbase. And
did you do it the next day?
And I was like, the day before, or was it early in the day of the election? I think I was just like, oh, I think he's going to win. I don't want to wait. And I took the chance.
Oh, nice.
And they were both up like 30% the next day.
Yep.
I'm not into short term and playing those kind of things, but I like to brag when I get lucky. And that was, So Coinbase is another one stock that just, I hate things that just went up a ton. It's not, but I don't know that the top is anywhere near for those two. So I'm super bullish on. It's just like everything. I was, the world. Usually, I'm just like the election. Oh, they're both the same, and it doesn't matter, and I don't care. It's usually I'm 56, and I think every election in my life, that's been my attitude. Is just stupid, and they're both fake and gay. Then this was like, okay, if Kamala wins, I'm gonna buy gold. I gotta figure out how to hide my crypto. I gotta get a gun. I gotta worry about California. But Trump wins is like safe. Crypto's great. We got real
good for 4 years.
The other thing for the bubble, I think, this is a little off topic on your question, but it's just like, I think we're going to have good people in place. I keep watching this Treasury Secretary on Polymarket like a hawk. I think this Besant is the guy we want, and he's leading. And I think it's going to happen. They're going to start to work on legislation, and we're going to have that period, that's our favorite period of like, it's got, we're going to get good legislation, which means all this good stuff is going to happen, which means 2 years is going to be great. So let's price it in now, and then someday like the law passes, it's not as good as we thought. And then everything is harder. And then everything goes down to reality. But again, 2025 is just shaping up to be, that's another fuel to the fire, dreaming about how perfect legislation is going to be. So yeah, the Trump thing is just.
Now, what do you? Yeah, I'll just pose this to the panel, and maybe direct it also more towards Brandon. But do you think that there's a school of thought out there that buy this election, sell the inauguration or before the inauguration? So do you think that is the next kind of in quotes dipping point to where we could see after the new year people can lock in, they don't have to pay taxes on this year's gains, whether it be crypto, traditional market assets, things like that, and then we do get a massive shakeout, or people kind of keep this feeling good all the way through? I think we have to, at some point between maybe Christmas and the inauguration, we got to have some turbulence somewhere in there.
I don't know, maybe not, man. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the global liquidity cycle right now as well. I think that everything lined up pretty well with Trump, but I think the primary wave, the primary direction that we're going is with the macroeconomic conditions. The only thing that concerns me, and I've made this known, it's like once you cut interest rates, sometimes there's a delayed fuse, and the economy can blow up in about 3 months to 6 months sometimes. And then it probably takes about a year to course correct. I think we're almost out of that. That's the only thing that concerns me. I saw the job report numbers, and I also saw the inflation numbers come out. I think they're going to hold rates steady next meeting. I don't think they're going to decrease it because inflation is going up. It is Q4. More fuel is used. More people are buying things. You have that sort of inflation that pushes things up. But overall, man, I think that it's crippling for governments to have to pay these high interest rates for so long. And I think it's going to be pushed down. And I think there's going to be a positive windfall on cryptocurrency in 2025 because of it, most likely.
So basically, just don't, if there is turbulence, don't get shaken out, because 2025 you think is going to be an outstanding year.
Yeah, double top. Maybe we do a double top. Maybe we push up super hard. We do a solid 15 to 30% correction, which we've seen in many cycles previous in the bull run. And that might freak people out. We might chop sideways for a while and then push up higher, maybe all the way into the summer. So these are some ideas here that I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think 2025 is our 2021. And you know, you don't want to, whatever. If you need some money, or like taxes is a thing. Like I'm looking how much I want to sell enough so that I have no taxes, because I have, for whatever reasons. And, you do your little trimming maybe if you need cash, but otherwise, I don't know. You don't.
Yes, I agree. I've been saying since 23, I've been like, man, survive till 25. Like hold on to whatever bags you can until 25, because I've been, if you just look the crypto cycles, the liquidity cycle, there's a bunch of cycles that we're lining up really smoothly with 2025. I mean, sure, you can probably buy almost anything decent for the next 3 to 6 months, and sell by Christmas next year and be real happy with yourself.
Is it strange that I'm actually looking forward? This is crazy. I'm looking forward to the next bear market. Like I'm excited about this,
100%.
But I'm like, oh my gosh, I understand it. It feels good. I've been here so many times before, and I'm like, bull market's great, but now I'm looking forward to the next bear.
The cool thing is,
speak for yourself, sir.
It's like it's just more like just being ready for when the musical chairs of music end, being more prepared for that. Like I don't like to go down for a year straight. Like that's not
or two.
That's not fun. Even if you're properly positioned, it's still like woof. Okay, I'm a
masochist. That's what it is, guys. Yeah.
But knowing when to sit down is a great feeling. That's something that takes a few cycles of time to really get.
Well, in 2021, I had sold a lot, and I thought the bear was going to start a little earlier. So I was like done selling, and it wasn't going down yet. And I'm like, what if I'm wrong? So I was literally like, this thing better crash soon, or I'm going to be wrong, and I'm under positioned, and so then I was rooting for, I don't know that I would say that on my videos, but I did have that feeling, but right now I'm not hoping for the bear. I am hoping for the bull, and I sell it high and stack up my stables and dollars, and
The cool thing about right now where we're at in the cycle is in the next 5 years we will have had 2 bull runs. So that's really cool to think about. For people who are just getting in, you don't have to wait, at however much longer to go through 2 bears and then have it come back up again. 10 years potentially. We're at the point now we're at this bull, and it's happening. Like, we're going to see massive numbers next year in 25, and then we'll see down, but then we're going to see, everything come back up. By the end of Trump's term, we will have had 2 bull cycles. This one and the next one will have already started. So in the next 5 years, if you're playing your cards right and you held onto your bags and you know what you're doing, you will have the opportunity to ride the cycle up, ride it down, and then ride it up again in just a 5-year time horizon.
And the hardest part is accumulating when you have those dips. So that's just
100x times 100x is 10,000x, fellas. You got to think that way.
It's crypto math, man. So.
Well, it's the same on the way up and the way down. The top. The key to, I think, beating the market is forgetting about the why. Because at the top, and I know when I've sold at the top, and everyone's like, "Well, why are you selling?" It's like, I don't know why. Don't you think it's going to go higher? Yes, I think it's going to go higher. Well, why are you selling? Just because it's up 10x. It doesn't make, And then when it goes down, it was the same thing. It's like, well, why are you buying? It's like, it's going to fall, and FTX collapsed, and the central bank, why? I don't know why. Is it going to go down more? Probably. But why are you selling? Because ETH's off 80%. That's when you buy. It's just a rule, So you have to just respect the bubble.
Yeah, respect that gut feeling on some of those things. I can remember at selling a top the first time. It was a situation where I woke up with literally in the middle, went to bed feeling all warm and squishy, checked everything out, oh yeah, this is great, Went to bed and I was and just about to sleep, and I was like, man, it's too good, it's too good, it's too good. Take, sell the things you need to sell. Did so, and super huge, 30% down the next day, and you're like, oh wow, man, I fucking feel great.
So you're Satoshi. That's what you're telling
me. No, absolutely not. I've hit a top maybe once in my life really well, and just felt like, oh man,
flag the stream.
but that feeling is palatable. When you're at tops and bottom, it's definitely whatever it is. You're like, oh, this is the time to sell for whether you're at a target or whatever you're at. The feeling more so than all the.
Yeah, you're in touch with the counterintuitive. It's
because that's usually the time where everything else in me says oh, it's going to be different this time. And as soon as that shit comes out, I'm like, no, it's not. It's not.
Well, the media starts shilling crypto like crazy. That's always my thing. When I see that happening, and CNBC and CNN and these banks paying for slots and all these commercials and the super that's when I'm okay. It's overextended right now. We don't have too much longer.
And when everyone starts telling me I'm really smart, when everyone starts telling me I'm really smart, then I know something.
Yeah.
Well, it's been over for everyone because everybody tells me that every day. No, but what was I going to say? I've been getting small hints, but nothing terrible yet. Getting in an Uber and, guy asking, how high Bitcoin's going to go or what, altcoin should I, do we like or whatever. But I did have somebody last week ask me how to buy Dogecoin. So that raised a little spidey sense tingle there. It's okay, all right, we're asking about this stuff, but
Department of Government Efficiency.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think that's where that kind of came from. But it's little things like that. Today on Twitter, I saw 100K Bitcoin watch parties, and I'm like, I don't think it's gonna hit then, because everybody's doing streams, and it's okay, it's gonna hit. It's well, you have a massive wall of liquidity between 98 and 100. So you're saying all that's gonna get chewed right through just for no reason, just because you're streaming? And I mean, it's some pretty big names. So who knows when that'll happen. I think it'll happen. It could happen this weekend. Things thin out, or we could get one of those classic late Sunday night rushes before the markets open on Monday, and it's gap and go. We'll see. Or we could just come down and take a break. Who knows? But we got a few minutes left here. Dave, I did want to bring this one thing up because we are a fun bunch here on Happy Hour. So I wanted to bring up one of your tweets, which I found rather humorous. And perhaps you can give us a little bit of context on. But let me just pull it on up here. And we'll get at it.
So Mattel gets in trouble because they linked to an adult website on their toy boxes for kids. So this is connected to me in a little way because Mattel is coming out with a new movie called Wicked. And back in 1995, I had an online mall that, since I live in Massachusetts, I called Wicked Cool Mall. And I bought the domain wicked.com. But an adult movie company, Wicked Pictures, wanted that domain badly, and they ended up buying it from me. And now, by mistake, Mattel pointed to wicked.com, which is an adult website. But had I never sold it, Mattel would have been pointing by mistake to teaching kids about financial literacy. The world takes strange turns.
That's amazing.
So tell us a little bit about that, if you could.
I don't know which part. I sort of said it there, which was, I got on in 95. I was like, I want to sell stuff on the internet. And so I had this idea. I used to go to stores and I'd go to a store. They were selling watches. I said, hey, if I sell one of your watches on the web, will you ship it to my customer? Drop ship. I didn't even know the word drop ship at the time. Will you ship it to my customer, charge me wholesale? If they said yes, I go and make a horrible looking website, with different color pages, like the way that we used to do it in 95. And I started building all these little stores. And I called it a mall. That was a popular thing back then, was the mall. The funny thing is Amazon figured out, it's put it all in one store. We used to, you'd think, how so that you have to have different stores for different products rather than all in one. So anyways, I had this, Wicked, there it is. So I bought the domain, wicked.com, and then Wicked Pictures is calling me up and it's like, we want the domain. I'm like, no, I don't want it. And then they were lawfaring me and it started getting expensive. And then finally I had a whole thing with them for them to buy it, and it was actually $40,000. And people were like, well, that's pretty good. I was like, I probably spent $30,000 on lawyers between the whole. It was actually really annoying, the whole thing. And I had to change the name of my mall, which I eventually dropped the whole mall thing for my one store, which was 99% of all my sales, which was sextoy.com. Anyways, and then it was funny to just see that my cousin, who was my lawyer, called me the other day. He's like, did you see what's happening with your domain, wicked.com? Mattel. on little kids' toys, they're pointing to wicked.com.
These aren't the toys you're looking for.
Yeah, not the toys you're looking for. Mattel apologized for the mistake, apparently. So.
How funny. What a wild world we live in, man.
Dave has some tales on this show. The Paris Hilton pool party, that was a fun one from back in the day as well. So I'm sure you have plenty more. So,
I used to throw parties up in Hollywood back in the day.
But
I used to be fun. Now I go to bed at 9.
I hit her in the face with a water balloon once.
Oh, that's right. I think, did you?
I might have told this story. I don't know if I did or not.
But tell it again, because we have hundreds of viewers.
Oh, sure. So back in the day, I lived in a little town, Newport Richey, Florida. She did this thing called Simple Life 2 up in Brooksville, Florida.
Oh,
right
the show?
Yeah. You remember the show?
Yeah.
It was right up the way from me. Well, one night, just on random, but total randomly, some friends of mine called me up and were like, hey, you want to go camping up at these Hudson Mines? I was like, nah, I got shit to do. I didn't have anything to do. So me and some friends filled up a garbage can full of water balloons and waited till about 2 a.m. with the intent of driving up there, waking up my friends and blasting them with water balloons. We were little punks. And so it's like, 30 in the morning almost, and we're on our way up to the woods, and going past us at Ridge Road or whatever, right down US 19, is a stretch Hummer limo flying with the windows open, girls screaming out the window. Ah! We're the only car around. We're like blowing off this red light, turned real fast and sped up as fast as we, pulled right up to their thing. And like me, the person in the passenger seat and the person in the rear passenger both had water balloons like in the lap, and like it couldn't have been more perfect, man. These girls had their windows open, like they're trying to say something to, hey, what's going on, boys, or some dumb shit to us, and just fucking these perfect loft. And one of the water balloons, like the suction of of us driving, just right inside there, boom, inside the limo, and the other one like hit the window as they're like, you could see the window being coming up, and explodes on it and like makes a whole mess too. And then they stop. They're like going like 5 miles an hour as we're like going 7 miles an hour in front of them, waiting for like with more water balloons ready. But they were not having it after that. They closed up shop. They were so anyways, I didn't know who it was. I didn't know who the fuck it was from anybody. But the next day, I was at work at this restaurant I worked at, and they were showing videos, and my buddy's like, dude, look. And they were showing the two of them partying in Ybor City the night before and getting into a giant white Hummer limo. I mean, like, I don't know how many stretch Hummer limos are driving through Brooksville, Florida. So like, it might not have been them. I didn't get like a clear, like, I'm pretty sure I blasted those bitches with some water balloons. So.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that is an excellent way to round out this show, BK. So
thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you all enjoying my story time.
Story time with Dave and Big K. Brought to you by the Happy Hour Show. Well, as we do, every time we do one of these things, we shill around the room before we go. So, Big K, tell us what you got going on, or you teased it a little bit, and where we can find you.
So you can find me here, and Telegram and Twitter at Big Krakowski, right down there. And then, you can also find me at Puerto Rico Blockchain Week coming up the December 9th through the 13th. We're going to definitely be sponsoring the opening party. We have a demo talk at the university about pulse chain and decentralization, how to use some of the features, how to check their wallet and see if they have a free airdrop of PRC20s. And then on the 12th, we're going to be at ETH San Juan. And after ETH San Juan, we'll be throwing a pig roast on the beach. And whoever's invited, anyone's attending any of the conferences, can come on down. We'll have music and a pig and some raffles for some of those pulse chain coins. They'll have a million pulse on each of them or so. And good times for some new blockchain folks that are out there. I mean, there's a bunch of people coming down for this conference, so it should be fun. So if anybody else is, let me know. It's going to be at El Carajo, which I found out is the bar is it's a bad word in Spanish, I guess, but like slightly on off take on it. So that's where it's going to be.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. We did have one question. I try to get to all the questions. We didn't have too much in here, but we did have one. So for the Pulse Chain guys, Rags and or Big K, honest question from Chris A. What price does PLS need to reach before people start complaining about PHEX end stake fees? And I just do a little LOL from that because we are a long way away from
100x. I'd say let's
get
to our first 100x, guys.
We are nowhere near that for your.
We can start getting pissy about things.
5 to 10 years.
5 to 10 years.
Probably
there you go.
7
Time
to 10
frame's
years.
better.
Yeah,
I like that. Okay, so good stuff. Brandon from buildthetech.com. Show yourself, man.
Buildthetech.com.
What you got going on?
I'm excited, guys. It's cool to be a builder. I've got a company. So if you guys have ideas about anything that you want to bring to Pulse Chain, you want to bring it to Ethereum, any EVM chain, we've got the technical expertise to make that happen. anything custom, anything that you have, just bring it to us. Also Web 2. So if you have a website refresh that you've been looking at for your business, we can come in and help out with that. We can build you apps. We can do all sorts of cool things. So just check out buildthetech.com. Come talk to me. You can find me on Brandon Davis R2R at Twitter. And yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and Brandon's a little humble, but he's had a nice launch of a project, and I would expect more is in the works perhaps soon. So
yeah,
good
I'm excited.
stuff, man.
I'll say this: we've got a full build, full-fledged DEX aggregator that we are going to be launching very, very soon on Ethereum. That will probably cater to a lot of the folks that listen to the stream. So I'm very, very excited about that. Some cool features with that as well, and then some surprises up our sleeves too. And I think people will learn a lot about that in December. Very excited.
Awesome. So if people like Pateus on Pulse Chain, then they should probably get a little excited for what you have perhaps cooking on the ETH side.
I think so. We can do some cool things for different communities that might need some representation on the Ethereum side. Absolutely.
Awesome. Freddie Quotes, what's up, man? How you living, and where can we find you?
Living well. It sucks. It's cold outside now.
Yeah.
So
had some snow here today.
Yeah, my tolerance for cold is not bad, but I hate golfing in the cold. So I need to buy a house further south or something, because that's
here,
how I
Florida
spend my
is really
time.
Nice.
Yeah. Lots of golf. South Carolina too. Lots of golf courses down there. So
that's true.
Need to find something to do since I am not golfing anymore. So if you want to hear me just talk trash and troll people on the internet, you can follow me at Freddie Quotes on Twitter.
Well said. And last but not least, I guess Dave Levine from davelevine.com. You have plenty you're doing, and with financial literacy, you didn't get really much time to talk about it here, so go ahead and shill it.
So, well, first, if you ever want to chat crypto, I'm happy to talk. Message me, email me.
Great having
and I also still tweet on Twitter about it. But my new focus is creating courses to focusing on teens, high school, but there'll be some maybe for older people too. But financial literacy and how to get a great career. They don't teach this in high school at all. They don't even teach it in high school. And then you graduate high school often in debt with no clue what you're going to do. I'm trying to fix that. I just started on it. DaveLevine.com is where you can always go for the latest and greatest. Right now, I've got this free, super short course, which for you guys here would be probably too simple. It's mostly just how to start investing and sort of explaining S&P 500 ETF and like dollar cost averaging into that. It's free. If you know anyone young, maybe push them there. And then there's also, I'm doing this live class thing on this outschool.com. And I just started it. I've got all these hours available and no one's doing it. So if a kid signs up now, it's like one-on-one with me. It's $20 a week. So it's a pretty good deal. And yeah, so I got that, and I'm working on this. We'll see. It's not as easy to get rich. I'm not doing it to get rich, but to find a business model that works, because I'm competing against free schools and kids. All their time is busy. So how can we teach financial literacy when you're competing against, free and they have no time? So, but I'm working on it. And if anyone has any ideas, wants to help or send someone there, love it.
Cool.
Awesome. And that is davelevine.com, right? I'll just take you right to it.
Yep. And that's just whatever I'm changing. I'm pivoting the business every 2 weeks right now.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Instead of $20 a session, charge $200 a session. You'll fill right up.
That it's funny. I'm on this outschool and like everyone sort of charges the same thing. So I just wanted to do that. But yeah, if you had your own and you make it sound, it's for kids though. I don't know if that works because adults, might.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think the adult thing would go because I see what you're the angle that you're going with, Freddie. So yeah, I could understand that. But yeah, for kids, if there's already like a known competitive pricing,
I
then
mean, but the teaching kids, I'm just doing that for my own, so I can start testing out my materials. I'm not trying to have a thing where in the long run I'm a brand and I'm teaching people. I don't want to be, I want to create something that's scaled. So
some evergreen content. Good news.
Well, good stuff. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it there, Dave. And of course, everybody else here. I'll just do a quick channel shill. This is Freedom of Speech. What turned from Freedom of Speech Week is now Freedom of Speech Month. So, we've had good feedback on, a variety of streams that we've done. I think this might be our third happy hour now. We've done shows with also OX Steph. Tomorrow morning, I'm talking with Jake Sharp from Titan X. So we'll have a whole new audience set for that. A lot of Hexagons, a lot of Pulsicans are in it. So if you're into that kind of thing, feel free to come on by. I'm going to try to ask him some questions that he hasn't been asked yet. And stay tuned for our next happy hour, which maybe, I'll check with Big K and his availability, as long as he's not out there partying too hard.
Yeah, I'd love to do one before the event too. That week kicks off, so it'd be great.
Yeah, so just stay tuned to the socials, Cabana Crypto on all platforms, and I think that's about all I got. So good having you. Thank you, Big K. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Freddie. Thank you, Dave, and thank you, chat. We had streamed on multiple platforms, Rags' channels, my channels. We had, I think, a total of we're at our high right now of 365 live viewers. So that's awesome. So I appreciate all you guys. You guys rock. And take care. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.
Sweet.
Bye.